20 drones that didn't matter won the battle. While Russian defenses scrambled after a ghost fleet near Novorossiysk, 3 plywood-framed FP1s threaded a timed gap between 2 Podlet K1's radars, appearing for 2 seconds, then gone for a minute. We'll walk the exact window where helicopters and patrol boats burned fuel on decoys mimicking Miraa V5s, complete with believable radio chatter and heat signatures. Then the twist. GPS goes crooked. R330 ZHTO spoofs the sky, and the attackers switch to inertial and oil rig visuals. The spy ship's intelligence game neutralized before they knew the threat was real. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Why would 20 drones that weren't supposed to land a single hit matter? Because they made operators choose between what looked urgent and what actually was. The launch window opened after dusk when the air cools and the water holds heat. A decoy swarm pushed off first. Modified jet skis and small commercial hulls, each set up to mimic Miraa V5 signatures. They ran at attack speeds, kept loose formation, and talked on the right maritime channels. Preloaded radio chatter rolled on cue. Engines ran hot enough to paint clean thermal streaks. Wake generators kicked up surface trails where patrol routes crossed, exactly where Russian watches would expect trouble. Russian radar plots lit up around the false group. Ka-27s at Novorossiysk spun up fast. Deck crews pulled covers, rotors swung, and 6 birds launched west at about 270 kilometers per hour. Patrol boats surged out of their lanes. Command had to make the call. Keep the lid on the spy ship or sprint after what looked like a breakthrough swarm heading toward the approaches. Doctrine points to the immediate threat. The big asset can wait if a wall of small attackers appears to be moving through gaps. The decoys didn't look like toys on a scope. Plywood shells kept them light. Reflective inserts were set for a believable radar cross-section. Not too big, not too small. Low-slung engines threw an infrared profile close to small unmanned surface vessels. Each unit fired off scripted radio bursts on channels operators actually monitor. Some broadcast AIS-like chatter, the kind of short, messy identity pings that pop up when things get crowded. It sounded like a mixed group, and that's what made it stick under pressure. Sea clutter did the rest. At low altitude, long-wave radars see a noisy carpet of returns. Edges blur. Thermal cameras catch hot exhaust and cool hulls against warmer water. But at night, contrast plays tricks and track quality degrades. A small object riding the troughs fades in and out. On electro-optical feeds, spray and reflections punch holes in the picture. A cluster of decoys with tuned reflectors and steady wakes looks real enough for a response. The first 20 minutes pulled the outer pickets wide. Boats shifted stations, opened lines, and built gaps. The next 40 minutes dragged helicopters south and east as the decoys kept speed and threw believable merges. By the second hour, air defenses orbited phantom tracks. Nudged by fresh bursts of chatter and new wake signatures, operators chased returns that never firmed up into solid solutions. Every orbit burned flight time. Every sprint ate fuel. This was cheap warfare by design. Each decoy cost less than a single helicopter flight hour or a mid-range interceptor. Even if a boat intercepted and destroyed one, the trade stayed lopsided. Engines were simple, frames were expendable. The math works when the other side pays more each minute they stay airborne or keep radar arrays at high duty cycle. Control tricks held the picture together. Pre-recorded telemetry snippets played through as if live. AIS-like lines dropped in with enough errors to feel human. That layering stacked plausibility for crews juggling multiple feeds in real time. Wood and composite frames shrank their true returns. Tuned reflectors added just enough signature to look like the right class of target. At low angles, the sea itself hid the edges, so operators saw what they expected to see. The swarm didn't need perfection. It needed tenable noise, long enough for defenders to commit. With helicopters orbiting ghosts and patrol boats stretched thin, a narrow corridor opened on the scope. A thread between sensors where the real attackers would have one chance to move, if they could ride the timing. How do you cross a defended coast when the scopes say you get 6 seconds of life per minute? You do it with 3 FP1s built to run low and fast. plywood frames skinned smooth to shed spray, engines trimmed for short bursts, and a mission that comes down to a 2-kilometer scene. Two Podlet K1 radars turn at 10 revolutions per minute, their beams sweeping like metronomes over water. Between them sits a narrow lane that opens and closes on a rhythm. The operators have one job: arrive on that beat, then hold the line long enough to reach the spy ship's shadow. They map the pattern first. 4 seconds blind, 2 seconds visible, then back under the carpet of sea clutter. The team rehearses against the rotation, counting arcs, sinking throttle to the sweep so the drones hit the gap at the exact moment the lobe glances away. Decoys up north keep the net busy. That buys space for mistakes, but not many. The FP1S stage in a stagger, a few boat lengths apart, so a single bad flash on radar will not fix all three at once. Then the first complication hits. One FP1's gyroscope starts to wander. Heading ticks left a degree, then 2. Small errors turn into curves. Fuel burn edges up as the pilot trims harder to stay inside the troughs. Every correction risks lifting the nose and showing a bigger target to the antennas. They pause the drift with a quick platform reset, then switch to dead reckoning legs. Over water, dead reckoning is a narrow game. No features, just speed, time, and the angles you trust. They verify with fixed lights offshore, an oil platform to starboard, a faint string of shoreline lamps to port, snapping quick checks to re-anchor the math. Now the sky turns crooked. GPS starts lying. The R330 ZHTO inside Crimea throws false coordinates with enough power to swamp the real signal. Screens show clean numbers that don't line up with the world. The team blanks the feed and shifts to inertial. Accelerometers and gyros carry the load with preloaded velocity profiles and angle of attack cues tuned for this sea state. The operators know the clock on drift. They work inside it, timing corrections to match the radar beat, saving every degree they can until a visual fix confirms the next leg. Nature gives them a small edge. A temperature inversion settles over the water, warm air on top of cool, bending energy upward. The effect trims the radar's reach at low angles, just enough to fatten the blind layer that hugs the surface. It is not a cloak. It is a margin. They ride it, dropping throttle when the beam turns toward them, adding speed when it slides away, always keeping wake tight and spray low so electro-optical sensors don't get a clean line. Then the corridor opens. The first FP1 runs into the 4-second low return window, flashes for 2 seconds on a distant scope, and vanishes again before track quality builds. The second follows the same beat, using the brief blip as camouflage. If one track fades, 2 look like clutter. The third presses through on the same cycle even as its gyro drifts. The crew holds it down with short, brutal corrections, then relaxes the stick to let it sink back under the clutter. They reach the final markers with inertial still in the loop and GPS dirty. Visuals confirm bearings. The math holds. The answer to the blind spot comes down to timing a moving hole in the sky and accepting the risk of a short detection burst that goes nowhere. With the spy ship watching ghosts and its screens thinned, the strike arrives on the beam. The node that fed patterns for weeks goes quiet, and the water returns to noise. Cheap decoys didn't just distract, they manufactured uncertainty. Operators burned fuel, airtime, and attention on plywood frames that spoke the right language and glowed the right heat. The real punch came from timing and inertial navigation, beating GPS spoofing and slipping through sensor math with seconds to spare. That blend, deception up front, precision in the gap, turned high-end defenses into spectators. If you want deeper dives into how timing, weather, and deception shape modern warfare, subscribe and tell us which system you want unpacked next. Think about this on your drive home. How many defenses stop what looks dangerous? And how many fail against what looks unimportant?